All right, let's go ahead and get started. First off, once again, I hope you are all safe, healthy, and home, wherever home may be, whether you're still on campus somewhere or back home with your parents, moving into an apartment with a friend. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We need to get comfortable where we're at right now and still focus on our academics as much as we can. You probably saw the announcement from President Drake or the provost saying that all of our summer classes would be taking place online. So keep that in mind if you are in the process for scheduling your summer classes. Earlier this week, Sherry sent you an email with some reminders in it, and I kind of wanted to touch base on a few key points there. First being, you have a midterm this coming Wednesday, April 8th, and it's a Wednesday just like every other, and you can take it any time of the day. So that's nice. It's not in the evening like normal, but if you aren't ready until the evening, you can take it in the evening. Do not wait until 11 o'clock at night. Would not recommend that. It's going to cover 4.1 through 4.5, which 4.1 was the only section that was in lecture before we transitioned to this online learning format. So 4.1 was the Thursday before you all left for spring break, and then 4.2, 3, 4, and 5 have been the last 2 weeks of information. Another note, it is open note. You can use your notes from ODI, you can use your notes from class, you can use anything you would like besides a friend. Do not take this with a partner. She's asking you to use the honesty system, and as adults, I hope we can do that. It's open note though, so that's pretty awesome. Sigh of relief there. You all can do it. Do not take open note as an opportunity not to prepare. I still want you to be prepared and up to date on the information. So make sure you are keeping up with the notes that I'm sending you, the lecture content, and her lecture on Tuesday will be a review as always. So I really recommend listening to that because she normally gives you a lot of examples of what the questions in the test will look like. I already mentioned you can't use the partner. You can use it anytime on April 8th, and you get like 11 or 12 hours to take it. So if you take half of it, you need to walk away from your computer, eat lunch, come back with a refreshed mind, do it. Have notes, a calculator, and some scrap paper because I'm not sure how the online format of being able to write will be. I don't recommend taking on your iPad. I recommend taking on your computer, but if all you have is an iPad will work great too. I will have the practice exam for you on Monday. I plan on getting that written up for you over the weekend, and then next week, Thursday, will be 4.6, which is your last lecture of information before you start going into review before the end of the year. So I will get 4.6 to you by next Friday. Okay. Now, let's see. 4.4. Once again, if you have any questions, please email me. Please put them in the discussion board. Nobody's really piped up yet with questions, but I understand we're kind of all in a process of learning and growing right now. So, 4.4 was going more in depth on the properties of logarithms. Get highlighter here. Here is the product property. So really, you just need to remember that if two logs are being multiplied together, then to expand, then you're going to add them. Okay? So log base 4 of 3 times 7 is the same as log base 4 of 3 plus log base 4 of 7. So let's try an example here. I have log base 7 of x to y. So this would look like log base 7 of x plus log base 7 of 2 plus log base 7 of y. Okay, same thing, they equal one another. Then we have our quotient property here. And quotient property, what you need to remember is that they are the same as subtracting one another. So here I'm dividing x divided by y, so now I'm going to take log base b of x and subtract log base b of y. So here's log of 8 over z, and I would get log of 8 minus log of z. So let's try this example here. I would take log of the square root of x minus 1 minus log of x plus 1. And that is an L. It's a pretty bad L. Okay. Now let's talk about the power property. The power property is one that I learned in high school and never forgot. Yes, if you hear the airplanes, I'm at home and I live close to an airport. All my friends on Zoom are always like, there's an airplane. Yes, I live by an airport. Okay, so the power property is pretty simple. Just whatever that exponent is comes out front, which can be clear sometimes and not so clear other times. So let's take a look at this example here where I have a quartic root, not a cube root. But remember, roots can always be written as fraction exponents. So that's what I've done here. I've taken this and made it this. I multiply my two exponents to get together to get the 1/2. And then I just move the 1/2 out front. So let's look here. I have the natural log of the square root of 27. So if I do natural log base 4 of 27 to the 1/2, then I can do 1/2 natural log base 4 of 27. That's all that the power property is saying. Now all of what we have said here has all been expansion of logarithms. So that just really means you're going to use as many laws of logarithms to express a single expression. So here, that's kind of just a bunch of lingo, but if we look here, let's see, then let's try to expand that. First, we can use the power property to move this 10 out front. And now we need to use our product property to separate our x and y. And that's how we get this. All right, now let's go ahead and expand this one here. I have no exponent out here to bring out right away, but I have log of 100, which can be changed to log of 10 to the 10, or, oops, 10 to the 2. And remember, this point here I've made for you. If it's not given, you assume it's base 10. Which, using our properties we learned last week, we know that this all equals 2. So now we just need to work with this part here. And we can go log of x plus 6 log of y. And that was just combining the two steps that we're taking up here. So now, compressing logarithms is the exact opposite of what we did above with compressing. You're just working backwards. So sometimes compressing can get a little bit more frustrating and challenging because you kind of have to think about the behind the scenes work that's happening. And it's not always obvious. So we have, here's an example where it gives you the expanded, and now we need to compress it into its smallest form. With this negative sign out front, we need to remember when you see a negative sign that it's going to be, which is a subtraction, you need to remember that that is a division. So that's always going to go on the bottom, and this one was added. So it's not being divided, so you can assume it's going to go on the top. Now, let's try this one. I have these two being added, and this one being subtracted. Then I know the first two are going to be in the top, and the second one's going to be on the bottom, and we're going to do a division. So I'm going to write it over here. I have log of 12, let's see, times the square root of 7 divided by 2. Square root of 7 comes from this 1/2, knowing that that needs to be an exponent. You could have written it 7 to the 1/2 or the square root of 7, whichever comes to mind first for you. Now I want to quickly just touch on change of base formula. This is all that is from this. You're going to take whatever that outside is and divide it by whatever the base is. There's really no base here. This base A is just saying that that's where a base would be, but you don't really have a base. And this is only for using your calculator. So once you have log of x divided by log of b, you can go straight to the calculator because you no longer have that base. And that base is what was stopping you from being able to plug it in your calculator before, because your calculator is always base 10. Is always base 10. So here's an example. Plug it in your calculator to try that. And you can also use this method to evaluate expressions once they have been compressed into a single log. So once you have something like this, you can go straight into your calculator versus having a base in there. Okay, that is it for 4.4. Let's move on to 4.5. 4.5, I recommend you spend a little bit of extra time on going through the notes. I will say that last semester she took 3 questions directly out of the note packet from 4.5 and put them on your exam. So have those out, be going through them.